All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. There's some good momentum and energy going in the panel verse today. It's been a big day already, man. Lots happened. Lots happened. Started off with an invitation to Jack Talcott over at MMML or whatever the fuck that is, and then it just rolled from there. There was a big time to be had over at Chats with Jack with old Jack Talcott. And then there was some tuning in over at Rose 777. So good magic happening in the panel verse today, guys. I figured I'd keep the ball rolling a little bit and see if anybody was interested in an after party. So let's go ahead and get this show started right. We'll roll the intro video and hang out, keep it open for a little bit. See if anybody shows up. If anybody's interested in having a party time with old Frank Monday, I'm gonna drop the link here pretty quick. But first, let's get some house cleaning out of the way. Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, your friend and well-wisher Frank Monday, coming at you once again like Finnegan. So if you've got a yen to expand your kin, then let's get zen. You and me, baby. Welcome back, Wizard, Warrior, Wanderer, Wayfarer, and Wildcat alike, wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you are receiving this transmission. Frank Monday coming at you from the central kingdom of the celestial dragon, Twilight Zone, Old Peking, far behind the bamboo firewall. And there you have it. Here's the intro video, guys. Let me know if you're on board. Old Frank Monday Productions coming at you.
Okay, guys, our next comedian is a bit of a treat, to be honest. It is a bit of a treat. He's been away for 3 years. He is now back from the dead. Well, America. Give a big round of applause for Frank Monday.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate that shit. Nick's a good man. You know what that's like, being a good man. It's tough in a fucking city like this, though. You know, nobody gives a fuck.
All right. Yeah, that's right, Frank Monday. Nobody gives a fuck. Yeah, so I just thought I'd pop in and see if anybody was interested in an after party. Doesn't look like it, though, you know. And I don't have anything prepared, so I'm not going to hang up too much and waste any of y'all's precious time. I do have some videos queued up, though, and I might, need to leave the door open a little longer in case anybody's out there in Happy Land and wants to chime in. I never know if they're feeding me the correct information here on the old boob tube. You can never figure that shit out, man, because it's a little bit arbitrary, isn't it? Right? We're all just barking like Pavlov's dog. Make sure you guys hit that like button, right? They say that helps out the channel, and I'm inclined to believe that it may in fact be true. You never know. I'm gonna get this show started off right with a little invocation from let me see here, Israel Regardi doing the invocation of Toth. Welcome, Timeless. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. I hope you enjoy this, man, as much as I do. It's good magic.
invocation of Thoth. Procul, o procul esti profani, qual lasti ompeda. In the name of the mighty and terrible one, I proclaim that I have banished the shells unto their habitations. I invoke Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and of utterance, the God that cometh forth from the veil. O thou majesty of the Godhead, wisdom-crowned Tahuti, Lord of the gates of the universe, thee I invoke. O thou of the ivy's head, thee I invoke. Thou who wieldest the wand of double power, thee I invoke. Thou who bearest in thy left hand the rose and cross of light and life, thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy nemesis as the night sky blue, thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is of flaming orange as though it burned in a furnace, thee I invoke. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as life unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. O ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who company the bier to the house of rest, who pilot the ship of wrong, ever advancing onwards the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which standeth in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance wherein Ptah floateth over the firmament. I travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of new. I raise up flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the daily glorified Ra, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountains, the celestial waters shall flow at my word. For I am Ra incarnate, Kepha, created in the flesh. I am the eidolon of my father Tamu, Lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and a guard sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of Ptah when he createth his works. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in the silence, unutterable wisdom, or light, or power. So, Hermes, Mercury, Odin, by whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art. Thou, star of the east, that didst conduct the Magi, thou art the same all present in heaven and in hell. Thou that vibratest between the light and the darkness, rising, descending, changing ever, yet ever the same. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind hath borne thee in its bosom, and earth hath ever nourished the changeless Godhead of thy youth. Come thou forth, I say, come thou forth, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of roaring air and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God the vast one may be obedient unto me.
All right, all right, all right. So it is commanded and confirmed, so mote it be. It's good magic. I really enjoyed that. Holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of both the light and the darkness, he who was, is, and shall be. We adore thee and we invoke thee. Send us one of your divine spiritual agents, our holy guardian angel, to guide and protect us, to protect and guide us through the innumerable snares of the earthly sphere, and a cleansing wind to disperse all negativity and endless human opinion. Teach us those secret things which we must know for the glory. Teach us those secret things which we must know for the completion of the great work and the glory of thine ineffable name, Adonai. So it is commanded and confirmed, so mote it be. All right, guys, 7 a.m. here in Twilight Zone, Old Peking. Frank Monday coming at you once again like Finnegan. I hope you're doing well. As I said, I just opened up the stream to see if I could get a little bit of steam off of all the guys paneling up on the Panelverse. But I put the link in the chat, so there it is there, StreamYard. If anybody did want to continue that conversation, they had a pretty good thing going over there at row 77. Let me review. The topic was visions for a better world. I believe that was it. I'll go ahead and jump on there. 75 videos on Rose's channel, Visions of a Better World. Yeah, so I wanted to kind of continue that conversation and see if anybody wanted to share their visions of a better world, if they had things they wanted to chime in and add to the conversation that they might not have necessarily got said in the chat, or if they wanted to continue the banter back and forth. But yeah, I wasn't going to run it solo today. So I got a little song here from Dweller of the Dark, one I like a lot. I'll go ahead and let you guys hear it one time. And then we'll roll on into the abodes of the future, man, because there's a ton of shit to do. Just most of the time, guys, I spend my time quietly in study, reading and writing and developing my mind. And that doesn't necessarily lend itself to a bunch of pontificating on the internet. I've never made any money from pontificating on the internet, and I got a full-time job. So that's where I'm going to sink most of my energy. But this is a great young creator that I think out there doing good magics, and maybe you'll find some life in him the way I have.
Dead of night, the wind howls slow. Grim, ghastly phantom hunt and go. Ghostly galleons, the Flying Dutchman drift by. On emerald seas where the moonbeams lie, mist-hung shadows of masts and spars, fog derelicts under haunted stars, the creak of timbers and the flap of sail, ghoulish shapes from bow to aft of the rails. On a low black isle in the Louisiana swamp, strange things occur, 'tis said. Night by night, the moon glows skull white on the shores of the vengeful dead. Voodoo drums and pirate songs in cypress dim, cutlasses ring at the shoreline's brim. Boats list low in the swamp's edge, gleaming swords on a white shell ledge. Rattle of bones and rasp of spade, ghost murmurs in the palmetto glade. Phantom forms in the witch's hour convene, bounty treasure things a Curtis said. Night by night, the moon glows skull white on the shores of the vengeful dead. Undead commands and a rattle of skeletal feet, a clash of arms in their spectral retreat, murmured oaths and a bluster's roar. Sail moves fire on the moonlit shore. Blood sands meet the full blood moon, a battalion of ghosts by the duckweed lagoon. Skeleton swings high and free from the rotted rope of a gnarled tree. On a low black isle in the Louisiana swamp, strange things a Curtis said. Night by night, the moon glows skull white on the shores of the vengeful dead.
All right. That was Dweller of the Dark, guys. Let's see, I think I got the link to his YouTube. Yeah, there it is there. You guys can check him out. He's doing some good magic over there, knocking out some audiobooks and musica. So it might be something that's right up your alley. You never know. Always interested in more paranormal encounters, guys. So if you have anything that's outside the ordinary, always open lines to you guys. Go ahead and call in and share your high strangeness with me here on the channel. I will lead you through a brief hypnotic induction and a little bit of prayer after that. Right. I find myself in a bit of a dilemma broadcasting on air because I know full and well that Lao Tzu advised me to keep my mouth shut. In Chinese, they have an expression directly translates, I think, into English as actions speak louder than words, but it's 笑说话多做事, or speak less and do more. So the more you keep your mouth shut and just actually get down to business, that's the more profitable your life becomes. And as you accumulate more and more wealth, the more people you can help with said wealth, right? So I am disregarding Lao Tzu's advice here in the Tao Te Ching, that those who know do not speak, and those who speak do not know. Better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and prove them right. But sometimes we have to break the prohibitions on speech and just go ahead and get out there and put ourselves in the public sphere and shake a leg, get a little bit of good work done. We've got a visitor backstage, guys. I'm going to go ahead and bring him up here on the show and see what's happening out in Happy Land. Some of you might know him as London Man. Some of you might know him as London McLovin. Others of you might know him as KJV, but he's a fucking a stellar researcher in the field of the paranormal and all things unusual, and he's figuring out what's really going on in this realm of ours. So with no further ado, please help me welcome to the stage KJV. Good to see you, man. How the hell are you?
Yo, Mr. Monday, what's happening? How we doing? I'm well, bro.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to see you here. I've been doing well, man. I just got back from a long vacation, so I am chilling.
Oh, nice. I just been out with some friends. I not too long ago got back in actually, so I thought, let me see who's online, what's going on, and here you are. You were the first person I thought, let me say hello to.
All right, good magic. Yeah, I've seen you go live a few times. Like I said, I was on the road for like the last 2 weeks. And so, yeah, I went on a big tour of the realm. And but I was keeping up, tuning in on your show a little bit and others. So good magic, good looking out. This old Queen Stevie's been been busy over there with Team Evil, brewing up some darkness.
Oh Lord, what's he up to
Yeah,
now? What's he up to?
yeah. I don't know. I seldom pay attention. I just know that he's always talking shit about you, me, and the other. The Demon Slayer. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Demon Slayer or not, but he released a good profile on Queen Stevie. Did you see that?
Yeah, the Demon Slayer makes good content about Step Hen.
Yeah. He gets good blows in at the Step Hen. Big sister.
Big sister.
Go, yeah, he's fucking been going bananas, man. He's for some reason we really infuriate him, you know. We're living rent free in his giant vacuous head because there's nothing else going on in there, you know.
Facts. Facts.
That guy
I've actually
that go ahead. Yeah, that guy couldn't have an original thought if it was the last thing on earth. Let me see.
That's it. I've actually got a social experiment lined up for next time I go live.
Oh, do you really? What's going on? Tell us all about it.
It's a classic one, obviously. It features Mr. Stephead, you know, something new, something old. So
Okay.
yeah, it's one of those ones really.
Nice.
Features
I'll be
quite-
looking forward to that. You've done really good work on that area in the past. Some very enjoyable presentations. Yeah, so for the audience, people out there listening now or later, if you don't know KJV, his London man, definitely check out his YouTube channel. Let's see, I'll put it in. I'll put the link in the post, the link in the chat. www. Anything more you can tell us about it? What's been going on with your work in the area of the realm?
Oh yes, I've been making much more connections. I've also started to do, you could say, a Monday show really with Paul from What the Flock, Black Sheep researcher. We do a moot show every Monday, me, Paul, and Sam. So I've been venturing out. I've been linking up with new people who has similar, you know, views on this realm, and just opening up to them, you know, just connecting.
Okay, yeah, good magic. So who is that? Tell us a little more about it. If you want, tell us a little more about who you've been working with and what their YouTube channels are and stuff.
Yeah, sure. I've been working with Paul, the Black Sheep researcher. He's a cornerstone in this
Okay.
community, right? He was one of the first people I started to watch when I first came onto YouTube. I watched him, Martin Likey, John Levi, and a few others, right? Heavy hitters. But then I find myself actually collaborating with him now, right? So that's a big achievement for myself. I was watching these people, now I'm actually collaborating with him.
Oh wow, yeah, that's awesome. That's good magic right there. And I noticed your new icon, your profile pic here is very interesting. Really interesting. Yeah, what's going on with that? Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yes, that is a description of the realm, you know, that we exist in. As you can see, it's a sphere inside of a sphere. And, you know, I'm willing to bet that we could be living on the smaller sphere that's located in the center, right? It falls into the realm of the hollow earth concept, right? So that's why I choose it, because I you know, run with the hollow earth family, you know. So yeah, it's an icon that I like to use.
Okay, yeah, very cool. Yeah, I was trying to isolate it and make it a little bigger, but I wasn't successful. Let me see if this works.
Yeah, there you go, solo layout. That's the one right there.
Yeah. I wasn't able to actually do it. I guess if I move myself into your position and then click you on solo, maybe this will work. Yeah, that works. Now I can stay in the chat. A second ago I just dropped myself from the chat in order to do that, but
Got you.
Figuring this shit out as I go, man. Flying by the seat of my pants. All right, good magic. Yeah, so I've been looking a little more into like what you've got going on here, and this way you're presenting this. After you brought it to my attention, I've seen some other representations of this out there too. I was watching an anime, like a cartoon that's here on YouTube. It's called Sassy the Sasquatch. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No.
Kind of a fun one. I binge watched. I binge watched it. I don't know. It's a couple of seasons long. It's not like you could sit down and watch the whole thing in like 2 hours or something. But it's kind of a fun little snazzy show. There's like an Australian Sasquatch that cruises around between dimensions. But when he's talking to his higher self and he's in like a parallel dimension, and it shows all of the various representations of like what maybe they consider the realm, the form of the realm, the shape of the realm. But this exact picture, what you have here, they have represented like in a cartoon form as one of the representations of the realm. And I thought that was interesting because when I saw it, I immediately thought of you. I thought, hey, there's KJV right there. He figured this shit out on his own.
Yeah.
And
I like that. I have to look out for that.
yeah, Sassy the Sasquatch, kind of a fun one. I forget which episode it's in, but they have the whole thing put together in like a 2 or 3 hour long show that you can watch at one time.
Actually. I mean, look, they even put it in the cartoons, the movies, the plays, the music. Right? It's everywhere. I haven't seen it like not anywhere. It's everywhere. It's just everywhere I look. Even when I'm not trying to look for it, it pops up.
Yeah, so you're kind of leading the charge on that. It's coming into the zeitgeist more and more. They're picking your brain on it, and they're probably keeping very close tabs on your breakthroughs in your research. And then you're kind of guiding the course of the zeitgeist with these new ideas, and you're staying ahead of the curve. Like a surfer out there on the ocean, you're catching the wave, but the thing is, that like the way these systems works, they're just going to steal your thunder and kind of present it as their own ideas, which sucks ultimately. But that the fact that the work is getting done is good magic nonetheless. And sometimes we just got to ignore these low level, know nothing opinions that try to give us suggestions. I think just you keep doing you, and they're never going to be able to keep up, man. You're so fucking far ahead of the curve that they're just going to have to follow in your wake. So good magic there. I can appreciate it.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I mean, I mean, even when I watch some other people's stuff, there's a few, well, maybe one or two content creators that is actually on the same journey that I'm on when it comes to that eye. And sometimes I use their work for reference points as well, because they make some good dots, they join some good connections and make some good connections, and so yeah, there is a few people that I use out there, but there's not many people doing it. I wish there was, then it would become much easy, so.
Yeah, well, you mentioned some big names in the in this realm of ideas, right? Like I guess some call it the truther realm, some call it old Tartaria, some call it flat earth, the FE community. And then there's, I don't know, what is TFE? How is that different from FE? I don't know all of these terms.
Okay, that is the final experiment. They are.
That's what TFE is. Okay.
Yeah. Globers. They're the globe side of it. They go against the globe.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. Good evening to Mark 5. I'm not familiar with Mark 5, but welcome. Good to see you, man. I hope you're doing well out there in Happy Land. Good magic to you. So John Levi is one of the points you mentioned, which he was kind of an entry point for me. It was some of the bigger guys out there. I think Eric Dubé and then John Levi. And I never watched Brother Sanchez, but I've heard his name mentioned a lot in the community.
Oh, yeah.
But the one you mentioned a moment ago was the Black Sheep. Was that his name? Black Sheep Researcher?
Correct.
Now, how do we find his channel?
He's on YouTube. Just type in the Black Sheep Researcher. I mean, even if you go into my channel, there's links there because I do shows with him every Monday. So even
Okay,
on
good.
my post section, you'll see 3 shows that I've done with him.
And you're doing those every Monday? Do you have like a set time that you air your broadcast?
Yeah, it's like Monday, 6 p.m. GMT.
6 p.m. That's London time, right?
Correct.
Let me try to figure out the conversion into Chinese. See, Stockholm, Berlin. I got a London clock up here somewhere. There it is. So we're looking at like 12:30 plus a.m. for you right now. So in 6:03, that'd be like 3 p.m. my time, I believe. Yeah, I was just trying to do the conversion.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah, good magic, man. I can appreciate it. Yeah, I'll definitely, I'll tune in and try to add my voice to the conversation. You know that I spent some time on Ironwork 92,000, Vlad the blacksmith over at the foundry.
Oh yeah.
I spent some good, yeah, I spent some good time over there sometimes. Because like I said, I did a lot of research. You know, I looked into the Eric Dubay and stuff. I discovered like the idea of the flat Earth around 2017, and I did it independently. I found a note about it in a book, and I didn't even know there was like an entire community out there. And then when I came back to the States to visit family, like I was telling them about the experiment I was doing, like a mental experiment about shifting reality tunnels and investigating this flat Earth stuff. And they all made fun of me. You know, they're like, "Oh my God, you're a member of the Flat Earth Society," and I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" You know. And so I had to look into it, and that's when I found all these guys like Eric Dubay, and I think around the same time I discovered John Levi. I wish John Levi would do more work. You know, he's only doing like one 20-minute video a week, and that seems like a pretty low amount of production. But I don't know, maybe he's doing other things. I know he's written a book and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, he's working. He's doing stuff. He's doing it in his own stride.
Yeah.
He's one of the reasons why I do actually think a bit more outside of the box also. I used to watch his stuff religiously every Sunday.
Oh yeah, every Sunday. I still watch him. I don't think I've watched. Oh well, I think I watched last week's video, but he hasn't dropped one this week yet. And that's a thing too. Like, look at how big of a creator John Levi gets. Just sitting around pontificating on old pictures once a week for 15 to 20 minutes. I mean, it requires less effort to build a large following than people imagine. Like, I've heard a lot of people giving suggestions about you should do this, that, or the other thing for your show. But that's not the way it works. You just come forward with a sincere message, a man and a microphone, and you really needn't do that much in order to grow yourself. Just people have to have interest, and the algorithm has to allow it. That's the key.
That's it. But I do believe there is information being suppressed, whether
Oh yeah,
it's creators or information.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a huge part of it right there, is that they're just shadow banning and suppressing people who don't fit the box that they would like to distribute this information through. So that always makes you wonder about people who are able to grow really big, like Dubay or Levi. What angle is it that they've adopted that allows them to bypass the algorithm, as it were?
Mm-hmm.
You got to wonder, right? And maybe it's a part of that equation that you only drop, you drop videos consistently, but you only drop a couple a week or something. And, I don't know. Like, are you familiar with Louis Rossman? He's a right to repair advocate in the tech field. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him or not.
Oh, don't know that one.
Okay. Anyway, it's kind of irrelevant to the realm we're in, but he's got 3 million subs, and he averages between 500,000 and 3.5 million views per video. He has zero production value. It's just a man with a microphone, and he just talks about right to repair, which, like, it's all about being able to repair your own things, like your car, your laptop, your washing machine, whatever, anything within the the realm of technology and devices, that he thinks that people should be able to buy the parts and repair those things themselves. But I mean, he's got a huge following, and he built it up over many years, probably 10 years, but he only drops 1 or 2 20-minute videos per week. And it's just, he has sincerity, and he engages, in truthfulness, and he talks about the ideas that are important in that realm of right to repair. Okay, it looks like there's something going on in the chat room. Mark 5 jumping on, a former occultist. Now I'm Eastern Orthodox Christian. Okay, good to hear, man. I can appreciate that. People go through stages, right? Everyone's going through phases, trying to find the truth, right? What does Crowley say? Or what Ozzy? Don't look to me for answers. Don't ask me. I don't know. Yeah, sorry about the musical interlude there.
Good.
You got anything for the chatters? Capricorni, that's a friend of yours, right, KJV?
Yeah. She's one of the good ones.
All right, good magic. Yeah, so hello to you, Capricorni. Good to see you again. Just got home. Her turtle passed away. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's not cool.
R.I.P.
Never fun to lose a pet, right? Did Mr. Turtle have a name, Capricorni? Mr. or Mrs. Turtle, I don't know.
Hey, I must say, Frank, I've been loving your shorts, man.
Okay, yeah, that was my vacay, keeping people updated with my vacation. I went down to Suzhou. Well, I went to 3 cities, actually. I went to Nanjing, Shanghai, and Suzhou to see different stuff. I thought it would be fun. I had to get out of the city for a while. Beijing's a big old city, man. Like 30 million people here or something.
Okay.
Did anyone in particular? Do you like the gardens and like the girls all wearing traditional Chinese clothing and stuff? It's kind of fun.
I liked
right?
it all, right? But there was one when you was singing, and then you had on your hat. I think you took your hat off. Budgie,
Oh,
budgie.
okay.
Na, 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 na. Budgie, budgie. Na, na. Fucking hilarious, but I love it.
Yeah, I like to sing the Chinese songs, man. That's my jam right there. I think that was the little bird song. 我是一只小小小小鸟，我想飞也飞，飞也飞不高。
Yeah, that's the one.
寻寻觅觅，寻寻觅觅一个温暖的怀抱，这样的要求算不算太高？ Yeah. That song, I'll translate it for you just to set your mind at ease. He says, I'm just a little bird flying. I want to fly high. And then he says, but flying high is that's too big of a dream. So if I could just find a safe harbor, like a sanctuary, like a warm, he says, if I can just find a warm nest to chill in, is that too big of a request? Something like that. It's kind of a lame translation, but yeah.
Quality. That's quality.
Yeah, he says, Mimi, I got a little secret. One the Huaibao. I need a warm sanctuary. He's talking about getting busy with his little wifey bird, I think. There's always some sexual innuendo and everything, Intercourse is the way of the universe. We're all just vying to interact with each other sexually, right? Capricorni says, hi, Frank. Good to see you. Yeah, her name was Maria. Okay, so it was Mrs. Turtle. Little Mrs. Turtle passed into the abodes of the unseen. Yeah, that's a big deal, Capricorni. I feel for you. I got a little fish I call Mr. Fish. I don't know if it's male or female. I don't know how to determine that. It's an axolotl, which is actually a salamander.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, they come and go. I've had some pets. I've had a few cats in my lifetime. I've had a couple dogs. I've had a bird. The biggest loss to our family was when Sweetie Pie. We had a double yellow-headed Amazon parrot that lived with us for like, good
Double
God,
headed.
since like the late. Yeah, I think that's what it's called, double-headed yellow Amazon.
Oh, I thought you meant like
Du-
genetic. It had like two
no,
heads.
no, that would be something, right? No,
Oh
that's
God,
just the name. It's like a yellow-headed Amazon parrot. For some reason, it's called double yellow. I don't know why.
got you.
Um,
I used to have a terrapin. We named it Godzilla. That died. I had that for like 17, almost 20 years.
is that a bird or a lizard? A terrapin's a lizard, right?
No, that's like a turtle, almost like a with
Oh, a
claws.
turtle.
Terrapin, yeah. Got the red stripes, like Raphael, along its ears and eyes.
Oh wow, yeah, those are gorgeous. I think I've seen those before. Yeah, my grandma tried to get me into raising turtles when I visited her in the countryside. She gave me like a whole pan full of baby turtles, and I just let them all go in the yard. I didn't know what to do with them,
Nice.
but it was an area where they would survive really well, and they were native to that area, so it wasn't a big deal. So that was when I was spending time with my grandma in Tennessee. Yeah, as a boy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't
So
think I
what?
could do the pet.
How long do terrapins live, and how long did you keep that one as a pet?
I had that one almost like 17, 20 years. I'm pretty sure they can live longer if you look after them a bit and all of that stuff. But I wasn't around for maybe like 3 or 4 years. I left home for a while, but when I went back to go and check on it, it was dead.
Okay, yeah, yeah. They need attention. All pets need attention. They need to be taken
Yeah.
care of, and that's one of the hard things, especially if you're solo, is keeping a pet. Because then if you go anywhere, I mean, there's really you got to give it to a friend, or you got to do. That's how I ended up with this salamander. Is that
Mm,
someone went on vacation and then they moved on. They couldn't come back, and someone else was like keeping it for them, and they're like, I don't want to keep it. You want it? And so I ended up taking it, but yeah, it's a little easier when you're like in a family setting or maybe an extended family. For example, I got my wife and two kids, but then her mother also stays with us quite often. So we got the mother-in-law, like the grandmother, and I turned her on to taking care of it, like cleaning its tank and feeding it and stuff.
yeah.
And she just like she older folks, they love doing something that's regular like that, like consistency. And she
Hmm.
took to it like pigs and shit, man. She takes really good care of that fish now. So
That's good. Good news.
yeah, pets work well in family settings. I think more so than individual settings. You know what I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
if there's always an old person home, then it's like the pet's never alone, and pets need a lot of attention, like dogs especially. Cats are a little more independent and blasé, but like dogs, they want constant interaction with folks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
Are you
good
keeping
to
any
have
pet? Oh,
it
go ahead.
pets in the
Sorry.
house with the family, especially if you've got a big family. It's got different people there, so on different days they'll be getting different love from different direction, right?
Right, right. Are you keeping any pets now, or are you just
No, no pets at the moment. No, my last pet that I had was a cat. I
okay?
had to get rid of that. I gave it to a friend, but I said after that I ain't gonna do the pet thing anymore. No more pets.
Yeah, it's a better choice. Like I said, unless you're in like a kind of a setting that's appropriate. Like I wouldn't keep a cat or a dog in the setting I'm in because I live in the city and the apartments are very small,
Yeah.
and it just wouldn't be suitable for the animal. And so like why put them through that? And so, but if I had a country home and I could put put the mother-in-law there and then be there, routinely throughout the day, checking in and stuff, in addition to working the job, then it would be something that I would endeavor to do. Definitely. I'd have a cat, a dog, a bird, along with the fish, because I like them all. They all have a little bit of different energy and it's fun to have them around.
That's it. I love them all, but I love to see them free. That's my problem now.
Right.
I love to see them free. Being a pet isn't really free. I know, like dogs and these things, yeah, different, but birds and fishes and aquatic life, Like, yeah, it's got to be free if you love it, right? Not as
Yeah,
a
yeah. And in their natural environment, I found I was big into snakes when I was in like junior high and high school or finishing school, middle school, and I found a rosy boa out on the mountainside one day, and it was like a
what?
baby. A boa constrictor. It's a kind of snake.
Oh yeah,
Sure,
I know the
I'm
boa
sure you're
constrictor.
familiar. Right. There's one called the rosy boa, which is like a certain albino boa constrictor,
Damn.
and they don't grow very large. They kind of have a stubby tail. They look more like a worm than they do a snake,
Got you.
really. Yeah, like a large worm.
Yeah.
But I saw one cruising across the side of the hill, and I thought it was going to bite me. And when I looked down at it, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't look like an aggressive snake. So I grabbed him, and I took him home. And I had a snake cage already because I was, keeping and trading snakes with other snake keepers and stuff like that. And I didn't have a snake at the time, and I wanted a snake. And then a snake just appears, and I ended up keeping it for I don't know, probably close to a year, and then I re-released it back into its native environment.
Uh, yeah. See, snakes. They look cool as a pet, but nah, I don't know what he's thinking or she's thinking. Mm-mm. Can't do it.
Yeah,
It's
they're up
like
to
having
some.
a killer. It's like having a killer as a flatmate, right? A serial killer as a flatmate.
Right, right. Yeah, they're up to something. The snake has a kind of a poor reputation in most spiritual traditions. Yeah, they're up to something. So, have you been keeping up with all the drama and gossip in the panel verse? I don't know. I know you tune in from time to time over at Jack Talcott's.
Oh Lord, Jack Talcott. I tell you what was crazy. Last time I was over there, he was up there with Queen Stephen, right? And I went over there. I said hello to Jack. Steven said hello to me. I told him to f off. Right? Jack was kind of upset with me. I said, look, Jack, I'm not gonna do this loop with Steven. Right? I come here to see you first of all. Right? But Jack kind of got on my back. Right? Kind of got on my back. But cut a long story short, now I've seen he's teamed up with Landry, Modern Man, something like that. I think he's cleaned that up round there, which is cool. That is what I wanted, for Jack to clean his act up a bit and his panel. And it seemed that guy Landry, I think his name is, done a good job over there. But
Yeah, that
apparently,
was Go ahead. Yeah.
no, I was just gonna say apparently they're no longer on good terms. Apparently, so I don't know what's going on there now.
Right, right. Yeah, so Capricorni, she says she had a snake too. What kind of snake did you have, Capricorni? I'd be interested to hear. Yeah, so I was wondering if you saw the development with that situation. He kind of took Slandry or Landry, supposedly a booger eater, right? He took him on board as the production manager. And I was looking through Jack's channel, and it looked like Landry might have gone in and done some real work on kind of reorganizing Jat's thumbnails and maybe some other things. I don't know exactly what Landry did other than sitting co-host and then encouraging Jack to like backstage and not let people on who didn't contribute to the wild ball python. Capricorn, says that's a big snake, man. Those guys are a big deal. They got to eat like baby rats and shit. When they get a little bigger, they eat like full size
Damn.
mouse and rats and stuff. Yeah, I've known
Oh,
some dudes who kept ball pythons. They get quite large, like 7 feet long. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit because it's kind of a dramatic, gossipy type thing that people are interested in, the panel verse, and it's why I opened today's after party. I kind of wanted to keep the conversation going from earlier. So yeah, it seems that Landry and Jack have had a falling out, and you got to wonder how much of this is scripted, right? But I think it's kind of a genuine thing, right? Like, I mean, you've heard the expression that the means that the ends justify the means, right? Have you heard
Mm-hmm.
this before?
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's ended here, and it seems like it has, right? Then it seems to me Landry's over, like, his hidden agenda was just to bring Jack's audience in to his own channel and give himself kind of a head start on the panelverse so that he could have entry into the panelverse and kind of make himself a platform for hosting panel chats to talk about the drama. And so it's almost like he kind of just stole thunder from Jack in order to do that, like pretended to help him, but then at the same time just kind of wanted to put the wind in his own sails. I don't know. That's how I read it.
Um,
Maybe
I,
I'm wrong.
I can't say yes, that's a fact, because I don't know what type of content this guy was doing before, you know. But I tell you this much, once you get looped into this, you know, especially if you don't get much excitement in your life, this shit will keep you wrapped up. It will, you know, it's all the excitement you need. Some of these people, they don't work, or they may or may not have families, but it shows you they have little interaction with their families. You know, the amount of time they give these people on YouTube. So it's
Right.
only a matter of time, really. But I don't know whether he was trying to steal his shine. Maybe he was genuinely trying to help him, but then he realized, as everybody else did, you can't really help Jack. You don't. Yeah, you can't help Jack. Not in a bad way. If he's listening, I don't mean that in a malicious way. I'm just saying, as it is, you can't help Jack. You
Well,
can give him
yeah, I mean,
comfort and friendship, but
yeah, I was just going to say, to some extent, Jack's a lone wolf, and he's used to fending for himself. And I don't think really like what he needed was help. I think he was just looking more for like he said, collaboration and commiseration and
mm,
sort of a partner in crime in order to implement these things. And so if that was, what he was interested in, because he does reach out directly for help in his mission to end wars and end secrecy. And I think that's a genuine message. So here's the problem I have. Landry's a young guy. I got nothing against the guy, right? He talked a bunch of shit about me on his channel this morning, and it kind of
what?
stuck in my craw a little. Yeah, yeah. I don't know why.
Whoa,
I
whoa,
haven't
whoa! Hold on,
talked.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. What could he have to say about you? I mean, why are you on his radar?
Um, well, yeah, I didn't really listen that carefully, but he was kind of
Okay,
slandering me a bit, or
okay.
at least throwing some shade. He said that when I came on Jack's channel, that I was cupcaking him and love bombing him, saying he's doing a great job. And he said I felt it was weird. Who is this fucking Frank Monday guy? What does Frank Monday do? What does Frank Monday do that's worth a shit? He doesn't have anything on his channel. All he does is stuff Big Macs down his face. And
Yo!
he said he said he restreams TML and doesn't say anything. And it's like this guy has no this
What?
guy obviously, yeah, he's got no fucking idea what I'm up to. I mean, he hasn't even taken a look at me, which is fine. I don't give a fuck. I
On
don't
the
want nothing to
contrary, I think he has been looking at you.
not enough to give a good assessment because like
Either
Queen
way,
Stephen
I
always says,
know.
oh, Queen
I mean,
Stephen
that's
says
what they
all I do
do,
is
though.
is Big Mac reviews, but I do an occasional McDonald's review because McDonald's is a popular product, and that's like 1/100th of the food reviews I do. I almost exclusively review fine Chinese cuisine, not fucking McDonald's.
Mm.
What the fuck is that all about? I mean, look at my list of shorts and see how many of those food reviews are high quality Chinese food as opposed to Big Macs.
Hey, but hold
I'd
on,
say
look.
one.
This is what's sorry to cut you, Frank, because this is kind of bugging me now. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, no worries. Go.
look, Landry got called in to clean up the operation, right? Now, you came into the dojo, right? With your shoes off, probably adding to the conversation, you know, being a good collaborator with them. You know, for him to say, go back and say what he said about you. I mean, I could understand if you was going up there being an arsehole or anything, but you was doing good. It's not like you got boot. Hold on, did they boot you? Did you get booted?
This was this morning, and no, he was on his show. Jack probably wouldn't ever boot me for any reason. You know, he knows that I hold my peace and I try to add value to the conversation. But this
Whose
was
show?
this morning on um, Landry's own show, and the only reason I
Oh,
went over there is because he used Jack title in the title of his live stream. He said an invitation to Jack Talcott, and so I went to see what was going on, you know, to see if Jack was going to be on the show, et cetera, et
mhm.
cetera. And I was just in the chat, and I said a couple of things in the chat, and he just immediately launched in and started talking shit about me because he was
What?
talking. Yeah, he was talking to Tommy, and I said it's easy for you guys to talk shit about me when I'm not on the panel. You know, what's up with that? You guys are a bunch of fucking cowards and
Yeah.
incels. Um, and here's the level of Landry's sensitivity. He asked Jack on Rose 77's show just a minute ago if Frank Monday was going to be the new production manager for Jack Talcott. Like that's how self-conscious and insecure he is.
Wow,
As if I had the fucking time to do that.
that's wild.
So this guy doesn't know anything about me. He doesn't know that I stream, you know, once a week maybe, and that I work a full-time job, and I got a family that I'm always busy with, and this is kind of my guilty pleasure, you know, a little me time, getting on here and trying to talk to people. It's not my full-time job like it is for him, you know.
Yeah, that's strange. I thought he was a saint.
No, I think he's a limp-wristed, autistic incel that is trying to stick his head in his computer in order to avoid the fact that he's married with children. And rather than getting busy with his daughter and going out to the park and touching grass and enjoying the fact that he doesn't have to work, you know, he's engaging in online shenanigans. And his background is that he used to work for a flat Earth big shot, a guy named Gerund,
Oh
which
yes,
I'm not familiar.
yeah, Jaren. Yeah, yes, you're right. I did hear something about that. Yeah, Z.
Now, do you know that guy? Because you're more in touch with that community than I
Yeah,
am.
I know of him, but I don't know him like to say hello to or anything. I just know of him.
Okay, did you ever watch his show, or what went on with that, or because that sounds like
Um,
that might be early days of the FE community.
yeah, I do you know what? I never used to watch his show. I only started watching it recently when him and Z had a few words, and I don't even watch it anymore really because he's a globie. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a globie, I suppose, but I just don't watch him, and I never used to watch him anyway. So
No, he's one of the guys that went on the TFE, right? The final excrement,
correct, correct. He was
and
there.
supposedly he saw and recorded a 24-hour sun at Antarctica. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now,
That's the
what's your take? What's your take on all of that? Like, I'm sure you have
guy.
a summation.
Well, I actually done the final experiment one, two, and three. I done my own, final experiments, and yeah, me personally, I think something fishy was up. Something fishy is definitely up with them because it was four flat earthers and four globies, right? Now, the flat earthers they turned to globies, right? They turned to globies. So I think that's a bit
Yeah, it
fishy.
seems like it would. Yeah, it seems like, again, if the ends justify the means, then it seems like the end result they were looking for was to flip people back to the globe
Yeah. But were they really flat earthers? Though? That's the question.
or
Or
controlled opposition.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, I'm a little spurious. Like I asked that fella, the guy who just slandered me on his show recently, and has recently had a falling out with our beloved guru Jack Talcott, master of Talcadia. Um, I asked him straight out. I said, "Are you still FE?" And he said, "I don't know. I don't care." Right. So it's not something he's interested in entertaining anymore. And I think that many in the community who do things like that, that have the kind of a opinion that, fuck it, whatever. I was just in it to win it and to ride the wave and see if I could get some popularity in that field. I think that they're very flippant and wishy-washy. And like he said, exactly, they just don't really care about the topic.
Mm. So, yeah, very wild. Very wild.
And I think that kind of puts it in a bad light sometimes when you have people involved that really don't give a fuck. Like again, I came at it through grassroots natural means, and it wasn't something that other people introduced me to or that YouTube introduced me to. It's something I discovered on my own through reading and research in occult literature, and thought that it was a valuable thing, and then tried it out in magic, and it seemed to work for me. And that's why, like, it meant something to me at the time, and it still does. And like, that's why me having a multi-model approach, I can see what you're doing and I could see the value in it. And it's not hard for me to take that next step and start to perceive things the way that you're presenting them. Whereas for some others, again, they're just kind of they're running around and they're digging all these little shallow wells, and they never hit water, and they wonder why. It's because you got to stick with certain things and dig your well deep enough to reach water. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. I'm glad you said that. Glad you said that. Because I've stuck with this. I've stuck with this these thoughts and ideas, and I've been digging a hole very deep, and I've been coming across water. I know that much. Connecting lots of dots, especially with the eyes and the realm and the reflection, the lens, the moon. Yeah, it's the body, everything.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense, especially too from my perspective in Dreamland. Like, I've been having some really exciting adventures in Dreamland recently, and it does seem to be that there's something to what you're saying, and I don't want to elaborate too much on it because there's still undeveloped spiritual researches of my own, but there does seem to be this sort of technological attachment to us as human beings that is seeking to interfere with the way we receive the message. And as a result, they're utilizing even, I don't know, matter or our physicality or our presence within this realm against us and to hide the truth from us. So yeah, connecting the dots is super important. And as I move forward into the new semester at school, I'm going to I won't be having the opportunity to participate much here in YouTube, but I'll be paying attention more to people like you. And you know that I watch a lot of TML, The Machine Lies, and I do like to pay attention to the Foundry and what Ironwork is doing over there. And then, of course, Jack Talcott. But that's about my short list right there, for YouTube, because that's all the time I'm going to have, for that type of, again, kind of a guilty pleasure on my part. But I think that the research you're doing is instrumental in that field because you're taking it to the next step. Like you said, you're digging those wells deep enough to strike water and find some truth that can be assimilated and add value to the idea. And I think Ironwork is doing the same in his own way. I know that there's a lot of backstory with different people in these groups, and because I'm a latecomer to the scene, I'm not going to know that, and it's not going to influence how I perceive them per se. Like Brother Sanchez, again, that's another name that I hear quite often, but I've never had any interaction with. I've never checked out his channel. What's your assessment there? Because I know that you have spent some time there, have you not?
Yes. I mean, once again, it's just like, no offense to them, but it's like Vlad, Ro Sanchez, it's whoever they may be, whether they're flat earthers, it's just one dimension. Some of even these flat earthers, right, they'll present stuff not knowing that it's actually hollow earth stuff they're presenting. I've seen them do it a few times. They make some points that is contributing to the celestial vault and the hollow earth, but they talk about it like it's flat earth, and I'm like, hey, you got it all wrong. What you're actually showing is hollow earth. and what you're actually trying to convey is hollow earth.
Okay. Well, and it doesn't, I don't, yeah. I think that it doesn't necessarily like contradict like their idea of it and the way they're grasping it, the FE community in general. I don't think it necessarily contradicts with what you're doing. Like if we take your icon, what you have here with the round sphere and then the level plane and then the iris of the eye. See, this is a little above like what I totally grasp as well, but it's something that through my own spiritual research, I would perceive to be more accurate than, like you said, than to be just one dimensional and say this is it. And that's why at the moment I'm on the fence and I'm gathering data, and I'm at a point where I know what it's not for the most part. I believe that I'm pretty clear on what it's not, like the NASA sci-fi fantasy, space fantasy that they present. But I'm not fixed in, it's not written in stone for me yet what it is. You know, that's still a part of the process where I'm at. So some things just kind of strike me at face value as distraction though, or things that don't necessarily add value. I'm not sure where I'm at with like the rising vector, for example. And again, maybe it's just because I don't know enough, but
Yeah.
at first blush, when I hear that and I see that and I'm trying to integrate, you know, the new FE material, then I think, good God, that just seems to be an obfuscation and a bit of a distraction. I'm not sure where I stand with that.
Yeah, I mean,
What's your take on that?
I don't know. This is the thing. When I actually heard about it, I was like, "What the fuck? Hell no!
Right.
Yeah, what the
Right.
hell? Get the fuck out of it!" But then, when I started to see like Zetetic Warrior gravitate to it, and I like Zetetic Warrior as a person, and you know what he's done to the community and the research that he brings to the community. So when he started promoting it, I was like, maybe he sees something that I'm yet to see, right? So I was hanging on for a while. I was like, yeah, all right, cool. I want to see something before I shoot it down. But what I actually saw wasn't enough for me to say, all right, yeah, there's something here. But I was hoping there
Okay.
would be more. I was hoping there'd be more, but I haven't seen more. And then last I heard of Z, he said that he's opted out of the game now. He's no longer in this type of field. You know, he's concentrating on Jack Talcott apparently. So
Yeah, I'm really curious why the cross pollination there, like what's going on with that. So the only place I know of Z from, or Zetetic Warrior, is from Nachiketas, because again, when I first started discovering this community, he was one of the bigger voices that I found that did like regular transmissions and stuff like that. And I listened to Knock for a while, but I found that listening to Knock, it's all fine and dandy, but there were a lot of I don't know, like personal problems brought to bear against the message. And it seemed to have this overtone of desperation and sadness and pessimism and infighting, like inside baseball, that I just didn't know anything about. And so I couldn't really on board fully. There were quite a few people in his community that were good spirited and welcoming. And I think Nachiketa, not, what do you call it? They call him Notch or Knock.
Notch, yeah, Notch.
Notch. I
Notch,
think
yeah.
in and of himself, I think he's a great guy. I jumped on his panel a couple of times, chatted with him. He's the Chinese dude in the West, you know, kind of like I'm the Western dude in China. And I thought we were kind of, you know, yin yang mirror examples of each other to some extent. And at a personal level, I like the guy, and I'll probably give him another chance in the future. But just the overarching like depression and sadness and what's the word I'm looking for? Like that's not what I'm looking for as a regular transmission to listen to, because I don't necessarily like allow the negative self-talk into my own life for
Yeah.
myself. And then like I don't want to feel left like I don't after listening to a transmission. I don't want to leave feeling like someone took the fucking jelly out of my donut. And
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
maybe he's got some things to work through. I don't know. Have you listened to him recently?
No,
Has he
well,
gotten through some of that bitterness?
I mean, look, you make a great point, right? Because that's how can I say it to you? That's what I find with most of these flat Earth communities, right? They give you the old flat Earth story, then they'll give you the old oh, they're poisoning us, oh, they're doing this to us, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. And that's not what I signed up for. I just signed up for the information in and out. You understand? And it's we do these things to ourselves, whether it's smoking or consuming things that we know is bad for our health, whether it's eating or drinking or whatever the case may be. But then we say they're doing this to us or they're hiding information for us. Listen, half of the information that I present is out there in the public domain. They're not hiding anything from us. We're just too goddamn lazy. We don't follow up on research. We don't connect our dots. All right. So
Yeah, you're right. And at the same time, we're the ones that are failing to integrate it into the mainstream. If we do more research, if we become more schooled in these ideas, then we can gradually implement these as a transition in the world paradigm. Otherwise, it's going to be left undone. And if we leave it up to the power elites, of course, all they're ever going to feed us is bread and circus, right? They don't give any kind of fucks about our spiritual cultivation or our grand awakening, as it were. In fact, the opposite is true. They don't want 90% of the people seeking out their inner spiritual gifts. They want people watching TV and eating potato chips, you know?
mm, yeah. So
Yeah, so
yeah.
you're right. It's up to us to kind of be like, bootstrap, pull yourself up by your you know, of your own accord and then try to share that message and add value to the community in some way. Yeah, everyone tends to do it because we are human and we are fallible. Like, you know, I like to watch John Levi, of course, and he brings forward some good information on the old world. And but at the same time, he'll share his struggle because ultimately it is a personal, individuated story as well. You know, like he shared the death of his cat, he shared his struggles with his property and his cafe,
Oh
and
yeah.
he shares some of his emotional turmoil and doubt, with the public. And he's another guy that's not much of an optimist either, and sometimes you'll walk away feeling like, God damn, I had some jelly in my donut before I watched him. And then
Yeah.
you step away feeling a little deflated, and we can't be spiritually buoyed all the time, and it's up to each and every individual to buoy ourselves with our real lives, to find the joy in our children's laughter or in the interactions with the world and our work and stuff like that. I know that's true, and so I don't blame any of them, but it's not going to hold evergreen value for me personally, and I'm not going to be coming back time and time again. Again, this new guy who was co-producing for Talcadia, he went in and he said with all the greatest intentions, but then it just petered out so rapidly. I have to question, the guy's staying power. I mean, if he shows up in the bedroom with that little amount of staying power, I can't imagine that his wife is satisfied and is going to stay with him. I mean, if you have an intention to do something, it seems like you should get it done and do it and not give up so easily. I mean, 2 weeks, good God, that ain't shit.
Yeah.
In the long run, I've put more time and energy to promoting Jack and being a positive force and trying to add value to his message than a lot of these folks out there. And I'm a diehard super fan. Like I've talked a little bit of shit in the past, but for the most part, I always say, hey, he's doing his thing. He's out there shaking his dick, wagging his tail, and I think that's what everyone should do.
That's it.
That's what people what did what's up with Cynthia say? You should walk out with your cock out. Come in the room helicoptering,
But
and
look, that's I mean, 'cause look, you do it, I do it, and there's a few other people that do it, right? We go over there, we give him praises, we show him what's up. give him a pat on his back, as we should,
Right.
right? As we should. But like I said before, I don't. It's not like I'm out here looking for that, right? But I don't get this
Right. Right.
treatment, right? But Jack would go to the people that, you know, bring him chaos
That
at the
don't
moment.
do it.
Like
Right.
like the
Right.
Tommies and the Pauls and all. He'll feature over there, the OTWs. He'll pull up to these places, right, and then go through the same old loop with them, and then back to
Well,
square
in
one.
some, and so, yeah, yeah. No, now, why do you think that is?
I mean, it's what people. It's. I don't know. But to be honest, I don't know. I can't read his mind. I really don't know. I really don't know.
Okay, so I have a theory. And I've thought about it to some extent. You know, I've been watching him for close to a year now, and I think it's in some part it's some sense of indebtedness to like the story, the Jack Talcott story, and his interaction with those people over the years, and so I think it's he would say that it's not, but I think that in a sense he feels some indebtedness to allowing them a voice, and at the same time he's cultivating the persona of a what's the word, spiritual counselor, um life coach, is that right? And
Yeah,
he
that
really
coach.
wants, yeah, he wants to see it play out in real time, and so he'll open the panel to those folks and then try to mitigate and help them reform, and then try to use that as a form of real life spiritual cultivation that can be a provable, tangible asset that he's achieved here in this space, right here in the space of the panel verse. And I may be entirely wrong in reading it that way, but I think that's part of it. Yeah, yeah, somehow.
Yeah,
Because
I don't know
I
what to call it.
it's baffled me as well. Because if we look at who's gotten shot down recently, you have, I have, Voy has, TML has, and we're all kind of like in our own way. We're also like leaders in the spiritual community, right? I mean, what you're doing with your exposing the insanity machine, for example, and then your forward pushing progress in the state of the realm, right?
Yeah,
That definitely has huge value in this community. And then TML, like researches into the esoteric and the way the mind works and the way technology is, you know, kind of trying to overtake us. I mean, that's huge. Um, who's the other one I mentioned? Voy. I don't. Does Voy have like his own channel where he posts stuff
nah. I mean,
regularly?
boy. He's just good at being boy. He don't really host a channel
Okay,
or anything like that, you know. But he
right.
means
So
no harm. He means no harm.
yeah, right. So a bit of a different thing, right? And I know that he means no harm, and that he, in his own way, he's a spiritual seeker, and he always adds value. And um, and then of course, yeah, like what I do with, you know, with magic and with Chinese kung fu and qigong and tarot and stuff like that. It's my own kind of jam, you know. But I think that we, and I saw how it played out today. I don't know if you watched Rose 7-7. It was Rose, Zetetic Warrior, and Jack, right? Did you
Oh,
watch
what
today's
happened?
show? Okay, so on Rose 777, they did like a 1 hour visions of a better world.
With Jack, yeah, okay.
Yeah, they had a three-way. It was Rose, Z, and Jack, and they all met on level ground and treated each other as equals. And I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. Why doesn't that ever play out in this realm? Right? Why don't we see more of this? And that's what I've always tried to do here. You know, like I open the panel and anybody's welcome to come on as long as you abide by like basic civil manners. You know, we're not here to fucking attack each other. We're here to make mutual spiritual progress, and we're meant to treat each other as equals. You know what I mean? And so that really, that kind of struck me as a new idea, but it's really an old idea. Yeah, big sister. Big sister's always going to come right in and take a shit in your living room. That's all he knows how to do.
Big sister. He's a lonely
Yeah, old
big
Queen.
sister.
Yeah, Queenie's out there somewhere lurking, hiding. She probably restreaming us right now and then calling us demons and cockroaches.
Probably clipping it, yeah.
Yeah, so that baffled me, right? Like that's how it should be handled, right? Do away with the holier than thou rhetoric and let's all meet on level ground, right? Sea level ground and share ideas. That's what I've been trying to say since day one, man. There's no reason why there needs to be infighting or inside baseball or gossip. And the only reason I brought it forward today is because they were talking about, not them, but MLA or whatever, multi what is it, the Masters Language Association, right? Slandry, dirty laundry, limp-wristed incel that won't fucking spend time with his daughter. He was talking shit about me, and not only that, like he doesn't understand what I'm doing. But I've been watching him. I've been keeping up with what he's got going on, and it seems pretty obvious to me what he did with Jack. And again, I'm always willing to admit that maybe I'm mistaken in reading it that way, but it seemed pretty obvious, like the way it played out.
Yeah, I don't know. That's maybe that's something I should go back and watch to Z, Rose, and Jack, see what's going on there. Maybe there's some.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And I would point out to you in advance, pay attention to the way Rose talks. And she mentioned Howard Stern as like a celebrity reference point, which to me just seems totally disingenuous. She corrected later in the chat that was when she was younger and enjoyed that type of polluted rhetoric in her mind. But these days she's trying to be more spiritually pure, and as a result,
listen. That huge bad news right now. Do you listen? This is what gets me right.
Yeah, do tell.
You know, there's always a bro code, right? Now check this out. I remember when Nachiketa and Rose fell out, right? She tried to get his channel terminated. She took out a firearm on panel. She was mentioning the COVID and all of that stuff, right? She tried to get Nachiketa out of there. Tried to get his shit shut down, right? But to fast forward now, Nach and Z both bringing the Rising Earth stuff. They're both doing their thing, working together, right? Come to find out now, you got Z and Rose linking up and doing stuff. I wonder what Natch must be thinking, from the sideline. Like, hang on, Z. Like, I thought you was my boy. This girl tried to get me out of there. Like, what you doing? Where's the bro code?
Yeah, that you're right about that, and it's a little bit curious to me. Again, why are these things cross-pollinating at this specific juncture, and is it pre-scripted in order for them to bring in more views somehow? And really quick, I wanted to address a couple of things. Capricorni here in the ideas room. Yeah, he's a booger eater. So when he was a kid, I guess he got up late one night and he said, "Dad, I'm hungry." And his dad said, "Eat a fucking booger and go to bed, kid." And so yeah, he took that shit for real, and he's never stopped eating boogers when he's hungry. Yeah, they are cray cray. There's a lot of that out there. Again, I'm still a Jack super fan, and I'm going to support his message as long as I think he's dialed in. But when you go back, and if you do watch that one, KJV, I'd like you to pay careful attention to the way Z talks. And are you familiar at all with NLP or neuro-linguistic programming?
Not really.
Okay, so it's a basic method of talking where you use absolutes a lot and you generalize a lot and you speak in a very calm and consistent manner, and you include everyone listening to you in the we idea. And it's very insidious and dubious because there is no all-powerful collective we. But watch very carefully the way he talks and listen to him, because it's pretty basic entrainment, like hypnotic entrainment in that they use in neuro-linguistic programming. Now, Jack admittedly has taken courses in NLP, and admits to it quite openly. But again, I think that Jack is trying to use his powers for goodness. Whereas, and I'm not saying anything derogatory about Z here. I'm just saying I tried to call him out in the chat to cut that horse shit out. And I know that he probably saw what I was saying, but he didn't respond in any way. So there's a couple of factors here involved. I'll type them out in my chat so that everybody knows. There's and you can look these up on your own too. There's something called, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with it or not. There's something called E prime language. Have you heard of that before?
Nope.
Okay, so it might be something that you can look into later on. Anyway, E prime language plus avoiding absolutes, and then being very clear about where you're using neuro-linguistic programming are super important to being truthful and trying to get people to think critically rather than to hypnotize them and covertly guide them into your entrainment or style of thinking. I've studied a lot about psychology and linguistics, and I teach a course every year on advertising and rhetoric. And so these are tactics that are used in advertising and rhetoric to pull you in immediately and try to sell you things, right? And try to do it covertly, which is something I absolutely try to avoid in what I'm doing. Like if I'm going to do a hypnotic induction, I'll tell you, hey, I'm going to do a brief hypnotic induction if you'd like to join along. And then I try to couch that language so that it's really open-ended so that the person participating in the path working or the meditation can use it for whatever they want, right? I'm not trying to get them to use it for something for me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so E prime language, it's worth researching. I'm not going to take time to explain it.
It's funny you mentioned E actually. There was, I can't remember exactly what it was now. Too many spliffs, right? But something I was looking into with E. That's what it was. One of the it's the fifth letter, right? And it's one of the most powerful words, letters it was saying. The way what it's used in, you know, energy, evolving, right? It was a powerful word it was saying. I think it was tied into the upside down. That's what it was, tied into swab. The smaller case E is presented in reverse, right?
Yeah. And I like magical acronyms and stuff like that. Like I did one on a play on the word I many years ago, and it was engage your energy, right? EYE.
Okay.
So yeah, evolution, electrified, energetic. It's in the eyes, right? Yeah, that's a clear thing there. And it's essentially the fifth sense, right? The eyes, the vision.
Ooh, I like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good magic. And I think according to Rudolf Steiner, the eyes were one of the last things we developed spiritually, like our ability to see. And it's one of the preeminent ones right now. Like they say that according to neurology, that our brain processing, like if our brain is a CPU, it's using 50% of its activity to process visual imagery. So there's quite a bit of activity directly related to vision in the eyes. I in the past, I had thought that it was 75% of the brain's activity is processing visual energy, but it ranges from 50 to 75%. So it's most of what our brain is doing. The brain is a very visual thing, unless of course you're blind. then it shifts to the ears and nose. But anyway, I just wanted to make the point that if you listen to the way Z talks, he's using a very clear system of entrainment. Now, is he doing it naturally? Is he doing it subconsciously? Or is it something that he's actively trying to do? And I would say that the latter is true, that he's doing it as covert hypnotism. That's just my take on that. And anytime, according to if you study hypnotherapy and you try to get a certificate and you work with that community, anytime you're utilizing covert hypnosis, it's deemed as black magic, and it's definitely discouraged.
Ah,
So I just wanted to get that out there. But that's just my opinion. And opinions, they're like assholes. Everyone has one, and they all stink.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you never, you never know. You never know out here from people.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
but watch it later. Maybe give me your take on it. Let me know what you think, because I'm just one man with a microphone trying to figure it all out. But anyway, I wanted to talk about a few of those ideas because I kind of want to clear the air. Like, I thought that I treated Mr. L Man, Jack's cohort, in temporary cohort. I thought I treated him with all due respect and like sincerity and kindness, in fact. And then he treated me with nothing but contempt and disregard and negativity. So it seems strange to me.
Yeah, they are a strange bunch. You gotta expect strange from a strange bunch.
Indeed. And if you're rubbing elbows with them, if you lie down with dogs, you'll get fleas. Like, Tommy invited me over to his show to try to kind of hash it out with him a couple of times, and I showed up twice. I've tried twice, and both times he mod-godded me and gave me his tweaker spiel and tried to talk down to me as if I am his subordinate. And I thought, what the fuck are you doing, man? I realize it's your show, or whatever, but it's like, fuck, man, I'm older than you. I have a higher level of achievement. I don't understand where you think you're going to get off telling me how the cow eats the cabbage. I know how cows eat cabbage. I watch them do it every day. So it was weird. Yeah, and I'll never go back.
Hey,
Like, Steven did the same thing, listen to my model, put in 1,000 hours of listening to my model, and then maybe you've got an opinion. And it's like, no, motherfucker, who the fuck cares about your model? What are you talking about? You've got your head straight up your ass. So I don't know where these guys think they get off, that they can talk down to other, to either their equals or those that are better than them. I find that very unusual.
yeah, that's crazy. I mean, Tommy was getting mod godded by everybody, and then he said, "I'm gonna go away and make the fairest panel in the whole world," and then he started mod godding everybody else.
Yeah, absolute horseshit, total bullshit. His fucking environment's not fair at all. He's just self-aggrandizing and jerking off online.
That's funny.
And he's got nothing of value to offer, and he knows that. He knows without the gossip and without Jack and without Paul that he's nothing, because he's essentially got nothing going on. And it is what it is,
Listen, there has been some times, right, when I've watched the whole show from afar, right, and Tommy has been right in some cases, right and righteous, and I'm like cheering him from the sideline. Yeah, Tom, keep going. You're right here, mate. Yeah. But then
even a broken clock's right twice a day, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's no big deal.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's
I don't. Go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say, it's you lay down with dogs, it's you get the fleas.
Yeah, true facts. Okay, so I've gotten his recent co-producer, Jack's recent co-producer. I've aired that out. I've aired the dirty laundry there. I'm done with it. I'll never look back. I'll never interact. I'll never mention. He will only become he who shall never be mentioned again. Illumitami, I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence about him. Like I said, he invited me to his show twice and then mod-godded me. So yeah, I've pretty much written him off. Chances are we'll probably cross paths on Jack's show again in the future. But other than that, I've got nothing left to say there. Who else is there? Oh, Queen Stephanie.
Definitely.
I don't think he'll ever show up on my show again, because the last 4 or 5 times he has been backstage, I didn't bring him on, just because he always launches in with, faggot, cockroach, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, I've heard that before. Don't need to hear that again.
That's all he knows. He's broken. That's all he knows.
Yeah, hardcore. I still got a lot of love for Jack, though. As you know, as many people would vilify and dogpile on Jack. I think he's trying to do the best he can given the materials he has.
Yeah.
And until proven wrong, I support the message of ending war because I agree with it. I think that we should bring war to an end. I think that his vegan ideas are also right, and I believe that you agree with that as well. That you guys line up on that part of the page.
Oh yeah, look, I mean, there's some points that Jack makes, and I'm totally with him on it. Like, I'm a vegan, he's a vegan, you know. We both want world peace. He wants world peace, I want world peace. But I know I'm not going to be the person to do it. You know, I know Jack won't be the person to do it. You know, I don't mean that in a, you know, in a weird way, you know, or rude way. I just it is what it is. Until I see a change from Jack, then I can say, yeah, Jack will be the person to do it.
Well, we do see that the biggest speakers on the in the public sphere typically have handlers and are controlled to a certain extent. Um, I, I would disagree with you a little bit there in that I think that Jack is actually primed himself to be in a position where he could be more aptly suited than most to bring that message forward because he did spend time in the military and he did spend a good amount of time in the public sector working for the post office. And I think those are big. I think those are big things in his favor, honestly, when it comes to the American public, because he's a veteran and he's a public servant. And I would just use a reference of like you're familiar with Greta Thunberg, right?
How dare you?
Right. So I call her Grumpy Toonborg, right? She's cartoonist. She's a Borg. She's formed by the system. She was an actor, right? She played into a role. Her parents kind of were her handlers. Yeah. And she was able to make huge strides in the public sphere of bringing forward a voice for climate change, right? And for more government controls and less freedoms for people. And so if an actor like Grumpy Toonborg can do that, then I mean, why couldn't a real man, right, an everyday man like Jack do even more, in my opinion? Because how dare you? She obviously wasn't a grassroots thing. She was totally foisted upon us by the mass media. You know,
Yeah.
she hit every big show on television. She's even to today, she's constantly in the news. People are talking about her. Oh, you know, what's Grumpy Toonborg up to today? You know, did Grumpy Toonborg sneeze in our direction or whatever? So I don't think that it's unheard of that Jack could be platformed because he is well spoken with the idea that he's trying to articulate. And I
But
think for the
my
American,
friend. Are you?
Go
Are
ahead.
you? But hold on. So in that, are you saying that? Okay, hold on. Wait. Because remember, I'm with you. Yeah, she definitely. I don't think she's grassroots, but she came in on, you know, climate control, climate change, and all that stuff, right?
right. So she had a lot
Now,
of funding.
exactly. But that's the thing. That's if you rock with the climate change stuff anyway. You know, sea levels rising and all that stuff. When we don't see that.
Right.
So she came in on a false premise anyway. It was like she came in on a rigged game.
Absolutely, but she was just being used as a tool to usurp our human freedoms, right? You know, you should have less choices in the consumer market, do away with the free market, communism and socialism for everyone. And if we just put everybody on a diet of bugs and living in a pod, then we can save the world, right? So yeah, jived right in with that message, right? That's all I'm saying. But I'm just saying that if that type of entity can be promoted, then I think that if Jack sticks to his guns, I mean, we saw him on Don Lemon, right? And the now defunct, once popular CNN commentator, or you saw that show, right? I think you were there that day when Jack was at the Capitol, and tried to fight for world
no,
peace.
well, I did see him at somewhere, but I I don't know what it was about. I know he went there with his papers and he said a few things, and they said thank you, next person. He
Right,
talked
right,
to-
right. But under pressure and on the spot in the moment, I think that Jack was able to, in an impromptu manner, articulate his ideas with clarity and purpose. And I think that he's able to do that, you know, and he really sincerely wants to do these things. He has a goal. And I like
I'm
to
with
think that a
you.
man with a goal.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
with
because
you.
like at the end of the day, maybe you're right. Like maybe he can't bring an end to all war, right? But his ultimate goal is to be able to sit down with some of the top guys and at least articulate that message for the common man, right? That we need some change in the way, at least the way American policy works, foreign policy works towards the rest of the world. And if it worked towards promoting peace rather than conflict, that those things could be achieved. And I think the American people would welcome that. An everyday man sitting down with the president and saying, hey, you know, you could do more to end war. Something like that. I
No,
don't think that goal, I don't think that specific goal is unachievable.
no,
Like
but
when they asked Greta Thunberg, Grumpy Thunberg, if she would sit down and articulate her ideas to President Trump, she said, "Why would I ever do that? You know, he wouldn't listen." Blah
well,
blah blah.
see,
And it's,
because look, that's what it's showing you. You can't go in there with tea and cake. You have to go in there kicking off the door. Jack's doing it the opposite way. He has to be opposition to these people. That's the only way he's going to make noise and get attention. The
all
opposition
right.
gets attention.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, what do you mean by that? Elaborate a little more. Like, so should he be more like Grumpy Thunberg, or?
In a sense, yeah, he has to be. He has to go in there with the concept in his mind that these people are not my friend because they're not our friends. Why you want to go sit down with these people that don't have our interests at heart, right? You have to be there for the people, not go in there to sit down with these people acting like they are us because they're not us. You have to enter it as an opposition.
Okay. So maybe a more achievable and more direct route would be for him to make a speech at the UN.
Whatever, but it can't be no love speech. He's got to fight war with these people, fire with fire. That's the only way you're going to get noticed. In my opinion, they're going to take you serious.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Fair enough. It's really without like a well entrenched team of people helping you to formulate that message and get the important interactions. Like it's really kind of hard to do that. Like I work in academia and I give lectures and speeches quite often. And like if I were to walk into a large lecture hall of educators and like try to promote a message that ran contrary to their agenda, it would go very bad for me, and that would be the last that would be the end of my career essentially, right? So I have to be covert in the way that I do it. Like I go in and I use all of the skills that I've learned in rhetoric to give a good presentation of the ideas that I want to convey, and at the same time include subversive elements that only
Yeah,
the most intelligent can pick up on. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And
There you go.
that way I can stay under their radar and keep my job, obviously, you know. Because first and foremost, I got to feed my own family, and if I'm fucking destitute, that ain't gonna happen. Especially in this society, you know, nobody's
Exactly.
gonna. We'd find ourselves all on the side of the street, you know, begging for handouts, and I'm not gonna let that happen.
Can't have you on the side of the street singing me moing, me moing.
I, I could probably actually rein in some pretty heavy donations doing that, but yeah, that's not really what I want to do. I
Love
kind of
it.
like the I kind of like the gig. I like the gig I'm involved in right now.
Hmm.
Yeah, fun times, man. Yeah, we're pushing long into the second hour here. It's good magic, man. I'm glad you stopped by, and we could banter back and forth on some of these ideas because they're important to me. Like I said, I've invested some time and energy in Jack, and I want to see him succeed. I want the best for him, and I honestly believe that he's coming forward. He's trying to put his best foot forward every day and bring truth and sincerity to his message. And I think Landry helped out a bit and tried to clean up the scene over there and get rid of some kind of some of the snafus and Tommies
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Queen Steffies. And
Mhm.
but and here's what Jack, if you are listening, and you might be, you might be out there in the audience. What I would like to see is that you show a little more tolerance and deference to some of us who have made great strides on our own in the spiritual community, like London Man here, KJV, and don't necessarily shut us down just because we have a bone to pick with one of these characters, one of these misanthropic, trolley type dudes that's hanging out in your hood, because we're in there for your own best interest, right? I believe, like KJV, when you had a problem with Big Sista, I mean, I think some resolution should be brought to that, and that should be allowed to play out a little bit. But I'm not telling any man how to run their own show. But again, the way things went down at Row 777 today, that will show you a clearer model of what I'm interested in. A triumvirate, three people bringing forth a clear message, and then just leaving it there. It was good magic. It's actually the model I've been promoting. I call it the Rastafarian model.
Hey, Rastafari. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
hey,
you know how that works, right?
I've always
It's a little-
been in, I've always been in Jack's corner. I've made it clear, just some of the company that he keeps, I don't respect at all. And that's it. I like his
yeah,
message.
true facts.
I like his message. He's a good kid. He's a good kid.
Yeah. I think he is. I think he is somehow. Yeah. So the Rastafarian model, we all know it. If you've ever sat around and had a little puff puff give, puff puff pass, right?
Uh-huh.
You puff puff, and then you pass. And then that fellow will puff puff and then pass. And that's the way it works in a powwow. When they get in the sweat tent and they're spreading ideas. This model isn't my own idea either. It was brought forward by Carlos Castaneda. I'm not sure if you're familiar with his work at all.
No.
But he did like 10 volumes that were like the way of the Yakai warrior. It was like South American shamanism. I'll put his name in the chat so you can look him up if you're interested. Carlos Castaneda. I believe I spelled that correctly. It might be wrong though. It might be Castaneda, Castaneda. I think I'm wrong there. Hold on. Yeah, that's right. Capricorn knows what's up. Pass the Ducci on the left hand side. Pass the Ducci on the left hand side.
I actually had that song in one of my social experiments with Big Sista.
Oh, did you really? Yeah, how did that go?
Yeah, that was cool. That's cool.
Yeah, so definitely look into this guy if you're interested at all. But Carlos Castaneda, he supposedly worked with a shaman wizard down in South America and learned about the Mexican native culture and the way that they became wizards and worked with their own energy field, right? And one of the things they said is that when you're having a philosophical or spiritual conversation, it's best if there are three people there. And it's best when the energy hits a person that they say their part and then let go and let the energy shift to the next person. And so basically, I mean, it's not set in stone, but a rotation of like, I talk for 2 minutes, then you talk for 2 minutes, and then the third guy talks for 2 minutes. And we never hold on the energy too long, and we always speak when the energy arises. And so they developed like this model of triumvirate speaking about spiritual ideas and then passing the duchy, pass the peace pipe to the next guy.
I dig that.
And so I think that's essentially, I think that's the model they're trying to play out on the show they did today, was the shaman warrior, yakai wizard, triumvirate passing of the duchy, what I call the Rastafarian conversation model.
Yeah. I mean, I've done that many years ago. You go back and check my live. I used to do that with Z. We used to link up, do the little get together, and talk our shit. But now I have a bit more direction. I feel like I have a bit more to offer. So I don't really do that as much. The link ups like that. I do it probably like once with Paul. We do it on the Mondays, and that show I get to show some of my teachings and new findings. So
and to be clear, when you say Paul, you're not talking about pimp. You're talking about the black sheep researcher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, good magic. Yeah, like for me, I had a professional hypnotherapist that I worked with when I first started doing the 100-day challenges here on the Frank Monday channel. And that was Thomas, Frater Tomas. And it's hard to find either one person or two people that you can do that with. But yeah, it's the ideal way to go. And then only occasionally, I know that like with yours, you do more presenting the research and monologuing about it, which is definitely the way to go to bring that research forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Capricorni looked it up for us. Yeah, and Castaneda is spelled correctly here. Carlos Castaneda. So she looked into it, and she gives a comment here. She says, "Yes, you did, London, and this way is much better." So I think she's talking about your new way. Maybe that's correct. I'll have to go and watch your Monday shows, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she means the way now, the way that you're doing things now, I guess.
Yeah, I prefer it too. Look, we see when I first started, I had those panels, 10, 12 people all on the panel at once. It was cool for a while. I thought, yeah, I'm the man, I got people around. But then afterwards, it's like, I can't even get a word in. But at the same time, I didn't mind listening to the people, getting it off right. But then it's like, hang on, let's get to the information. We never get to it. So it's like, you know what? Don't need this anymore. A lot of backbiting, a lot of people ain't seeing what I'm doing. So I just said, you know what? Forget this. Start doing my own thing. And
yeah. Cultivate a tighter knit crowd of people that you can let up, and then maybe open that to them. And then I think that like the open panel idea is a kind of a dying model, and it's already seen its best days. Like it was probably old when I first got here. I mean, I just found out about it a year ago, but it seemed like it was already kind of waxing or waning at that point. Like there was already a lot of cynicism and suspicion, skepticism and sarcasm. And so it seemed like people were already really vexed.
Mm.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. Like Capricorni says, it's just way too much. It's TMI. It's sensory overload.
That's it.
And it doesn't go anywhere. But I think it will always appeal to a certain crowd.
More definite. But then it's weird because you always get that one person that always wants to dominate. They always have to talk. Fucking hell, aren't you aware of how much you're talking? And there's like 10 more people on the panel, 9 more people. Like,
right, and they're violating the Rastafarian conversation model,
that's
man.
it.
They're breaking the fucking rules. They're hogging the joint. They're bogarting the joint.
That's it. Exactly.
Not good. That's bad magic. Not good mojo, man.
No.
But at the same time, like if I do prep work and I prepare some PPTs or some videos that I want to talk about, then I like to monologue for an hour or two, But in general, like if I want to open a chat and have a live stream, like I would prefer to have a couple of good guys on board that I can banter back and forth with these ideas and get their opinion, because I'm not always 100% correct in my thinking. And so, like, I think one of the best shows I had when it was me, you, and Voy up here, just talking shit about Queen Stephanie. It was fun. It was entertaining. We kept it going. The flow was dandy. And we had a good sounding. We had a good sounding board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was cool.
That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Voy, man. And I welcome him anytime. Another guy's, I think his name's Moonrocks. He used to go by Ricardo Sunshine.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Okay, I think he's a friend of Voy's. And Creek Mary, do you know Creek Mary?
Creep me, yep. I know Creep Mary, yeah.
Yeah, she's good. She's good fun.
Yeah, she's lovely.
Absolutely. I the first couple of times I met her, I like talked a little bit of shit directly to her about being a Native American Indian. Just playful though, because I actually have a half sister who's like half Blackfoot Indian, and so I grew up with like a Native American Indian in the family, like legit featherhead. She'd run around barefoot and la 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 la, swinging her fucking tomahawk. So I always had fun with that kind of thing. It was meant in good humor, and she got that too. Like I've talked with her online after that, and she knew that I was being playful.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, there is some people you can have a friendly little banter with, little playful interaction with, and then there's some people like won't even go there with you because your fun and my fun's completely different.
Yeah, they get triggered about some things, like some of these ideas that are infiltrating into the FE community, and they're bringing forward some real change. Like some of the proactive work that you're doing. It really rubs some of these folks the wrong way. They get triggered because they're invested, and they're like, "Oh no, how am I going to make these changes?" Like even me, again, when I was researching FE, and then I learned about this new upward vector. I thought, yeah, that's a new thing to integrate that I haven't even integrated these other things yet. So it's kind of it's sometimes hard for people to shift malleably through perspectives, because they invest in them quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shouldn't invest that much. Shouldn't. Yeah.
That's another thing that's discussed at length by Carlos Castaneda, is that we frame ourselves too narrowly sometimes. Like we put ourselves in very well-defined boxes, and when we try to put everyone else in a box too, with certain labels and so on and so forth, and it really kind of blocks our development and our growth.
I can see that.
I do that to some extent too. Like I consider myself to be a magician, and I give more credit to the FE expression than I do the NASA sci-fi fantasy, and so those are also labels, But I'm not so invested that I can't shift a little in my thinking. So I don't know.
I mean, where did they get their ideas from? Where did even Flat Earth get their idea from? I know it's part of the reality, the Earth that we live, that we walk on, the ground. But even the movies, the songs, everything. Where do they get their inspiration from? Is it coming from the off-world? Is it coming from the whole world, like in its entireness? Like,
right. And for me, here's a strange thing. Have you ever heard of the 1,000 monkey effect?
yes, kind of. Yes, it does ring a bell. Yes.
Where, like, if one monkey on an isolated island learns a certain technique for cracking coconuts,
That's the one.
then suddenly all the other monkeys in like 1,000 miles on other islands that have never seen this monkey immediately know how to do this technique. Have you heard of this thing?
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
Okay, so like the way I came across FE and the FE idea was actually like a single sentence in a book on philosophy by Robert Anton Wilson called Prometheus Rising, and it was just a comic strip, and it was he was presenting more the idea of being being able to shift in your thinking about the way the world works rather than presenting Effie as an idea, like a solid idea that you should consider. And then I just did it naturally. I thought, hey, I should experiment with eliminating the globe from my mind. And I didn't even know there was a community around it. But maybe it was due to that, like you said, where did that idea even come from, right? I came across it in a book, a single line, a single comic strip, but it was obviously within the zeitgeist at the time. I just didn't know it was out there because I was isolated from the Western world. And then when I showed up in America and I had this big idea in my head, everybody laughed at me and they're like, "Oh, that's already been going on for a couple of years now, you know?" And I was like, "Fuck, I didn't know."
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, so I just kind of fell in it with the thousand monkey effect. One monkey discovered it, and then suddenly everybody else kind of knows about it.
Yeah,
And it's like I said, it's something as old as time itself. You know, it was the original model upon which, supposedly, right, that people thought about the way the realm worked. You know, and it's in the Bible, and it's in all sorts of Judaistic imagery about, you know, the material plane and the four pillars and the shoal underneath it, and then like a celestial dome covering it, and all of this. So it's already been out there for a long time.
What
Wow,
about the
Capricorni
celestial
says.
spirit
Go ahead. I was just going to say Capricorni says that she's Blackfoot Indian, like my half sister.
stuff? Rep that shit.
You know. Yeah. So what were you going to say? You had a question about the dome.
Yes, you mentioned the dome. Do they so what is the dome mentioned in the Bible? Is the celestial sphere mentioned in the Bible? Because I know they mention the rings or the circle of the earth.
Yeah, the waters above and the waters below. I don't know that it's mentioned that way. In fact, I get most of my language through like Chinese Taoism, and in Chinese Tao, they do talk about a heavenly canopy, but
Yeah,
it's expressed a little bit differently. I picked up that language probably from the community here.
exactly. And that's my point. There's a lot of things that have been mentioned in the community because when they mention firmament, right, many words come up, but dome is not one of them. Celestial sphere comes up. A sphere, not a dome, a sphere. I've
Yeah,
done,
the Chinese they thought about it more in line with like the way the Egyptians expressed it, right?
yeah, Nu and Geb, right? Newt and
Right,
Geb,
right.
right? But then you got to also remember, they speak about the primordial waters as well, right? That is also in the creation. Now, the primordial waters, that's the great abyss. Now, what contains the great deep, the great abyss? You can't have a flat earth containing the great abyss. You have to have a sphere. Just like I'm showing you on the screen, right? When you go
Right.
back to the
Absolutely.
ancient conceptions, the great abyss is labeled within the sphere, like they're showing you everything's inside of the sphere, and the great abyss is the waters at the bottom. So it's being
Yeah,
contained
and
in something.
that makes more sense too. Like from the Taoist perspective, as presented by Master Ni Hua Qing, like what you're showing right there is the exact model that he would advocate. And then in addition to this, he would have worlds upon worlds. And so if we imagine what you have there as a bubble, imagine an ocean of bubbles and all of the bubbles touching and supporting each other. And
Mm-hmm.
so that would fall more in line with the Taoist perspective of how it works. The and I believe in Hindu they called it like the pearls of Vishnu. I think worlds
Okay.
within worlds and worlds upon worlds, and that there are more worlds, and that were separated by like a filament, more like a gossamer filament. And to matter, it seems solid and impenetrable, but to spirit, we can just walk right through it. So yeah.
That's that's one thing they can never seem to talk about, 'cause this is It's there. It's in all of the models, you know. The great deep, it has to be contained. And you can't contain it on a flat earth only. A dome concept. No, it don't work.
No, you're right. If there's a dome above, there has to be a dome below, which would imply a sphere, right? It would be
Exactly.
like a bubble. I mean, is that closer to what your idea of it is?
Yeah, more or less, yeah. hmm It's fair within a sphere.
Yeah, I think that's the next step. That actually absolutely makes more sense than the other thing. But there's a lot to flesh out too. Like then people will ask, then where does the sun and the moon come into this? They're within the bubble, right?
Exactly.
And then so some of the same things would come into play, right? Like they're more localized than we would have than the sci-fi fantasy would present.
Yeah, well, I mean, going back to what I was saying, my model is included with the body, right? Now, when I'm looking at the sun, I'm looking at it from the eye point of view, which would be the optic nerve, the optic cable at the back of the eye. Right, that's our sun for the eye, and the moon itself would be the lens, right, of the eye, and Earth is in between the nucleus. It's in between the sun and the moon.
Okay. Yeah, wow. So again, like there's a learning curve. There's a certain amount of learning and investigation and research into this idea that you have to have in order to be able to fathom it. And I'm interested in it, and I'll definitely spend some time, like I said, going into the new school year. Obviously, it's not the new year yet, but it is we're approaching the autumn equinox, so we're getting close to the end of 2025. Man, how's 2025 gone for you so far? Have you enjoyed this year in being? Have you made
Yeah,
some of the breakthroughs in progress?
most definitely, definitely. Yeah, it's going swell. Yeah, it's going good. Work's going good. Family's going good. You know, and researching. Yeah, it's going good. Mm.
Yeah, that's good magic. It's good to hear, man. 2025 has been a pretty good year for me too. Like my daughter graduated and she's starting college this year, and then my son's going into he'll be a 11th grader this year, so he's right at the end of his high school career. In fact, he wanted to start college this year. He's like, "Fuck it, why should I finish high school when I can just go straight to college?"
Mhm.
And I
Great.
was like, "Well, yeah." Because kids, they don't want to be indoctrinated. They want to learn and experience and get involved with the world. Um, I would, in fact, I would encourage it. I think that kids should be allowed to start college at 16 if they want, and then pick and choose what classes they take if they like. Um, Back at just 100 years ago, that's the way it went. If you stayed in school till you were 18, you weren't awarded a doctorate degree.
Mhm.
And the only thing compulsory in the U.S. is the seventh grade. I think, according to U.S. law, you only have to attend school until you're like, I think, 15 or something.
Damn.
Yeah, you're not. It's not required for you to go to high school. You just got to finish junior high. That's where we get the term high school dropout.
Got you. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of working class folks, they'll drop out of high school and then just like go take 6 months at a vocational training place and become an electrician or a plumber or a carpenter, a stonemason, something like that.
Mhm.
Which in the long run is can actually be better, because then you don't fill your head full of a bunch of fucking lofty ideas, and you get out there and start working a career that actually pays something. Those jobs pay typically. Uh, Even a journeyman, you're talking like $20 an hour entry level, and then for journeyman, it's like $50 an hour, And then like think about deep sea rig workers, they make like $120, $150 an hour. So it's a much more lucrative thing to do.
Yeah. But it's one of those jobs, you got to be built for it, man. You got to be built for that type of
Yeah,
job. Mhm,
fair enough. Yeah, you got to build yourself for it, you know,
mhm.
and have the stamina and the endurance. And even then, you only, you know, 20 years is, and you're ready to retire. Otherwise, it just destroys you physically.
Yeah. That.
I know. My dad was a working class man. He was a Navy guy, but he built himself up to a pretty decent big shot businessman. But I've done all of it, man. I was working on hot tar roofing projects. I've worked in the mechanic shop. I've worked doing drywall. I've done fucking tile work. I've done paint. I've done carpentry. I mean, I was in it to win it when I was a kid. Every summer, I'd work with my brother. I'd work at my dad's shop. And so I'm no stranger to fucking hard work, man. I've done restaurant work as well,
Mm.
waiting tables. But the whole time I did stay in school and I went on, you know, to get an advanced degree at university. Um, I studied literature, of course, and then I've been working in education for going on 25 years now. Um, and I personally, I think it's a little easier on the body and mind to work in academia than to be a laborer. And so I think I kind of dodged a bullet, but I got the experience at a young age.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do become project manager. So that's my next step.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's good. You know, set that goal out in front of you and don't worry too much about the how. Just take those steps every day that are going to get you closer to your goal. And, you know, and stay inspired, stay motivated, stay disciplined, and you'll definitely get there. There's nothing stopping you. Fuck. If I've learned anything about magic, this realm that we live in can give you anything that you want. You just have to put that intention out there and then put some energy behind it. Like one of my life goals when I was young was getting over to China and learning fluent Chinese and then learning about, you know, magic and Taoism and Qigong and stuff through the system of the Chinese. And so many people told me it was impossible. You can't go to China. They'll cut out your fucking kidneys. You know, they'll throw you in a meat market, a slave camp, whatever. You know, people tried to scare me. They tried to discourage me. They tried to make China out to be this villainous, crazy proposition. Why would you want to go there? They're communist, you know, this kind of thing, that kind of thing. And I never gave up on my ideas. And I found my way over, and I got over here, and I attended some research programs at university here, and then I graduated, and I got a good job in teaching, and it all worked out well for me because I didn't give up on setting my own goals and just ignoring other people's opinions. You know, fuck you, do you, man, get it done.
Get it done.
Wind in your sails.
Mm. Speaking of winding myself, I need to get myself out of there.
Okay, good man. Thank you for stopping by. Me too.
No.
It's getting down to the end of the transmission. What have you got for the people other than they definitely got to check you out on Mondays with Black Sheep Research and some parting words for the people?
Stay real, keep it real, you know. Stay loyal to the foil, loyal to the soil. That's it.
Good man. Thank you for that, London man. Much love to you, and thank you for stopping by. Have a great day, great time, whatever you're off to and wherever you're off to. I will certainly see you in the abodes of the future, and I welcome it. Anytime you're in town or I'm in town over there, I'll stop by and say hi.
That's what's up. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Frank. And we'll do this dance again.
Okay, good magic. Absolutely. And there you have it, everyone. London man. You know, coming, getting in it to win it, stepping larger than life. Let me put his channel name back up here so you guys can see it. For all the people tuning in later on, make sure you hit the like button. Do all that happy horse shit that makes YouTube's algorithms bark like Pavlov's dog. Because aren't we just all barking for the machine? Wow, it must have been a while back. There it is there. Okay, yeah. It's KJV. That was KJV London Man, London McLovin. Check him out at www.youtube.com/London Man. There it is there. Yeah, good magic. Appreciate you looking out, brother. Thanks for stopping by. LayLow Productions. That's right. He is LayLow Productions. You are correct. Amunde. Yeah, so he was talking about his show that he's got going on. It looks like it's going to be Mondays at 6 GMT. And yeah, same to you, Capricorn. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for showing support. Much love. Yeah, so Mondays at 6 GMT, London Man Researcher is working with Paul, the Black Sheep Researcher, and they're bringing forward the cutting edge information on the state of our realm. So definitely get over there and check it out. If you learned about it here on the old Frank Monday channel, make sure you tell them that Frank Monday sent you. And yeah, that'll get it done. I'm going to head off into the abodes of the future too, because I've been going long in the tooth tonight. And I was hoping to have a little after party. I'm going to rename this one Interview with KJV and Other Errata. So good looking out, good magic there. Do a YouTube search on LayLow Productions, and check out all of KJV's wonderful offerings that he's got over there at his channel. He's got some dynamite satire on one of our least favorite people, the leader of Team Evil, old Queen Stephanie. Yeah. Send in the blockers! Send in the blockers! Yeah, so jump on board with that, show your support, and definitely send in the blockers. Once again, guys, Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, Frank Monday, coming at you once again like Finnegan. If you've got a yen to expand your ken, then get in with me whenever I'm live streaming. Hit the likes for the YouTube algobots. Guys, coming up on the autumn equinox, I'm going to be launching into the new 100-day challenge, Internal Alchemy. And so that's what I'll be putting my efforts towards in the near future. Definitely check me out on buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. If that's your jam. If you don't buy jam and you like honey and you kiss it on the lips, then get those buttered sausage out of my face. Right? Buttered sausage. Where'd it come from? What is it? I don't like it. Get it out of here. It's not my jam. I like honey. I buy honey and I kiss it on the lips. Before I do roll off into the abodes of the future, I've been shouting out old Dweller of the Dark. I think he's doing really good magic over there at his channel, and I'm going to drop one more of his songs before I roll into the abodes of the future. I'll come back for a short prayer guys, but here's a little much needed 2-minute music break for old Frank Monday.
Eagles flying high, cats on the prowl, devils in your bed, their whispers so loud, witches on my heels, so they'll steal, running in the dark, truth they conceal, blood on the walls, spattering us sick. God can't help the dead, no time to think. Hounds howl at night, shadows in the light, fear in every breath, eyes wide with fright. Caused up by fate, no way to escape. Threads getting tight, can't see the daylight. Blood on the walls, spattering us sick. God can't help the dead, no time to think. Cards dealt by fate, no way to escape. Threads getting tight, can't see the daylight. Blood on the walls, splattering a sink. God can't help the dead, no time to think.
All right, everyone. That was Dweller of the Dark here on YouTube. Make sure you check him out. I'm going to head off into the abodes of the future, y'all. I'm going to finish with a short prayer, the adoration of Abraxas. And before we do that, I remind you to check me out at buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. And of course, you can join the Discord. Although I haven't checked it in a bit, but I will be over there to check to see if there are some new aspirants. As Master Magician Israel Regardi said, invoke often and inflame yourself with prayer. Holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of both the light and the darkness, he who was, is, and shall be. We adore thee and we invoke thee. Send us one of your divine spiritual agents, our holy guardian angel, to protect and guide us through the innumerable snares of the earthly sphere, and a cleansing wind to disperse all negativity and endless human opinion. Teach us those secret things which we must know for the completion of the great work and the glory of thine ineffable name, Adonai. So it is commanded and confirmed. So mote it be. Amen. And in honor of Pascal Beverly Randolph, who was the Grand Wizard of the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, he encouraged us in his seminal book called Brotherhood of Luxor to remember, O neophyte, goodness alone is power, silence is strength, will regaineth omnipotence, and love lieth at the foundation. Because love is the law, love under will, and do what thou wilt shall be the whole law. Until next time, Wayfarer, ad astra per asperum, get out there and carpe diem. Do good magic. Bye for now.